Have you ever felt it? A whisper just beneath the noise of your days. A quiet ache for something else? Not necessarily something more, but something truer. Like a forgotten word on the tip of your tongue, or a melody you almost remember from a dream you can't quite grasp. You know, the important one, not the one where you're inexplicably wearing a cheese hat. This isn't a flaw in you, it's a feature, a beautiful, haunting echo of a vastness you carry within, a vastness that rarely finds its reflection in the small, rather smudged mirrors we're handed. We are exquisitely tuned instruments, often playing melodies composed of static and, let's be honest, some rather questionable borrowed tunes. And the paradox is this: you are, right now, utterly and completely immersed in the very thing you seek. Like a fish asking, "Could someone please direct me to the water? I seem to have misplaced it." You are the searcher, the searching, and the sought. How can this be? How can we be so lost in a home we've never truly left? Perhaps we just really, really enjoy hide and seek with ourselves. This feeling, this subtle disquiet, it's not a sign that you are broken. It's a homing signal. But it's often misinterpreted, isn't it? Mistaken for a dire need for a new hobby, or perhaps another slice of cake. So we busy ourselves. We rearrange the furniture in our lives, change the scenery, acquire new roles, new stories, hoping this arrangement, this character, will finally silence the ache, or at least muffle it with some stylish new distractions. We become collectors of moments, of approvals, of definitions. A truly impressive collection, curated with utmost seriousness. And yet, the hum remains. That low, persistent hum beneath the surface, like a cosmic fridge magnet you can't quite locate. It's the vibration of an unplayed string within you, the resonance of a depth unplumbed. We live as if following an invisible script, responding to cues we don't remember learning, driven by an urgency whose origin is shrouded, possibly in a memo we forgot to read. There's a sense, isn't there, of being managed, pulled by invisible threads of belief, of conditioning, of inherited anxieties, very fine artisanal threads, of course. Each thread a tiny strand of should or must not, woven into a tapestry so dense we call it me. And bless its heart, it takes itself very seriously. And this me feels separate, separate from joy, separate from peace, separate from the vibrant aliveness it glimpses in fleeting moments, usually when it drops its phone. The tension isn't in the world out there, it's in this invisible, meticulously crafted and slightly itchy weave. What if the greatest illusion is not that we are small, but that we have forgotten our own expanse? Conveniently, one might add. What if the script we follow is written in a language we've been taught to believe is our own native tongue, but it's merely a dialect of limitation with a very peculiar grammar? This forgetting, it's not a sin, it's a slumber, a deep, collective dreaming, complete with occasional commercials for things you don't need. And sometimes in the dream we are awake, which is, you have to admit, a rather clever plot twist. So if there's this unseen script, this forgotten expanse, who or what is the weaver of this dream we inhabit so convincingly. Where do these threads of limitation originate, and can we get a discount on the yardage? Imagine an artist endlessly, meticulously painting portraits of you. Each brushstroke is a thought. I am like this. I am not good at that. This is what happened to me. This is what I need to post online later. Day and night the artist paints, with truly remarkable dedication, one must admit, even if the subject matter is, shall we say, consistent. And you have come to believe you are the painting, a static image confined to a canvas, an often rather unflattering portrait, depending on the day, while your true nature is the boundless studio, the light, the very air in which the painting exists. This artist, this painter of identity, it's the ceaseless stream of thinking, not thought itself, but our profound, almost hypnotic identification with it, our fierce loyalty to the artist, even when it insists on giving us a mullet from 1988. These thoughts are like phantom architects building elaborate structures in the air, identities, problems, aspirations, very impressive blueprints mostly, and we move into these structures believing them to be solid ground, even if they sway a bit in the wind. Or perhaps a ghost tailor, stitching together a sense of me from shimmering, insubstantial fabrics, a scrap of memory here, a thread of future worry there, a patch of borrowed opinion, often several seasons out of date. This garment becomes so familiar we forget it's something worn, not something that is. And yes, sometimes it desperately needs a wash. And the most compelling story it tells is, I am this separate, continuous self. I am this story, and this story is fascinating. It's a masterpiece of illusion, so intimate, so constant, we rarely question its authority or its fashion sense. We live from the painting, from the garment, defending its lines, its colors, its very existence, even when it's clearly time for a new look. And when the garment begins to feel too tight, too restrictive, what do we often do? We seek a new one, perhaps a shinier one, a spiritual one, with more pockets for profound insights. The seeker costume. I am on a journey. I am evolving. I am trying to awaken. It's a beautiful costume, adorned with profound concepts and noble intentions, sometimes even with artisanal, ethically sourced mala beads and a faint scent of sage. But look closer, feel into its texture. Is it not woven from the same threads of thought, the same subtle sense of me, trying to get somewhere else? Preferably somewhere with better spiritual amenities. The story changes, the branding gets an update, but the storyteller, the painter, the tailor remains, ready for their next commission. And what happens when you try to step outside these painted lines, these tailored identities? A sentinel appears. Its name is doubt, though it prefers to be called pragmatic realism. Doubt doesn't feel like a thought. It feels like you. It feels like wisdom, like caution, like the undeniable sober truth spoken by a very sensible accountant. Am I doing this right? This can't be it. Others get it, but not me. I'm uniquely incapable. This is too simple, or too hard, or possibly beige. This sentinel isn't your enemy. Oh no, it's the guardian of the familiar cage, the keeper of the known. Its job is to maintain the integrity of the story, the painting, and it's up for Employee of the Month every month. Gets great performance reviews. It whispers that the vastness outside the painted lines is dangerous, empty, or simply not for you because you haven't filled out the correct forms. It offers a solution, more thinking, more analysis, more effort within the known. After all, better the devil you know, especially if that devil offers a very detailed spreadsheet. It's the ego's cleverest defense, this doubt. A loyal servant to the limited self, ensuring the dream remains undisturbed and preferably well catered. And so the mind, this magnificent instrument, becomes less of a symphony and more of a fantastically inventive internal broadcasting service, specializing in 24/7 talk radio, repeat anxieties, and award-winning worst-case scenarios. This relentless commentator. Too many thoughts, it screams, adding another rather loud layer to the broadcast. This thought, there are too many thoughts, is perhaps its most ironic chart-topping hit. The mind observing its own activity and creating another thought about that activity, like a critic reviewing their own terrible play. Live on stage. It's like being in a hall of mirrors, where each reflection believes it's the original, and frankly, the best looking. The painter, the tailor, the sentinel, the commentator, all voices in a choir, singing the anthem of separation, often off key, and we, the listener, mistake this choir for our own voice. Sometimes we even buy the merchandise. We forget the silence from which all sound, even that sound, arises. But what if the way out of this hall of mirrors is not to build better mirrors, or to understand the intricate mechanics of reflection, or even to complain about the unflattering lighting? What if it's to notice the space between the mirrors? What if the key to unraveling the script is not to rewrite it with more dramatic plot twists, but to find the one who is aware of the script and possibly wondering who approved this dialogue? This is not a doing, it's an undoing, a gentle leaning away from the noise and towards the listening, assuming the internal broadcasting service takes an occasional commercial break. This isn't about adopting a new technique, another tool for the painter or the tailor. They have enough already, thank you. This is about a radical shift in allegiance, from the story to the awareness that holds them, and is perhaps politely trying to suggest a different genre. Consider the simple, profound question, where am I? Not as a geographical query for your GPS, not as a demand for a conceptual answer that the mind can grasp, label, and file in triplicate, but as an arrow pointing attention back upon itself. Feel it now. Where does it feel like I am? Let the question land, not in the thinking mind. It's a bit busy right now with its broadcast schedule, but in the felt sense of being, like dropping a pebble into a silent pool. Don't look for the pebble or analyze its trajectory. Listen to the ripples. Or the question, who am I when no thought or memory is used to define myself? Again, not an invitation for an autobiography or a philosophical treatise, or a chance to finally use all those adjectives you've been saving. It's an invitation to look before the painter picks up the brush to feel before the tailor selects the fabric. What is here? When the labels fall away. When the story of me pauses, perhaps for a dramatic cliffhanger. This inquiry is not an interrogation of a suspect. It is a lover's gaze, an intimate listening to the very ground of your experience, even the bits that are currently under renovation. It's like trying to see your own eyes without a mirror. You can't objectify them, but you see from them. You are that seeing. No, you don't need new glasses for this. What is revealed is not a thing, not an answer you can tweet. It's a presence, an undeniable, unadorned, silent knowingness, surprisingly comfortable once you get used to the quiet. It's closer than your breath, more intimate than your heartbeat. It was here before the first thought of I arose, the one that probably demanded a cookie. And it will be here when the last thought subsides, likely complaining about the service. This isn't something to achieve or attain. You cannot not be it, though admittedly, we give it a jolly good try. It's the water for the fish, the air for the bird, the silence that makes all sound possible, even the mind's questionable playlists. It has a flavor, a taste of pure being, utterly simple, utterly peaceful, infinitely familiar, yet often overlooked because it doesn't shout or have a flashy marketing campaign. It is. It's like the vast, clear sky. Thoughts, emotions, sensations. They are the weather. Clouds drift by, storms may rage, especially if someone uses your favorite mug. Sunshine may blaze, but the sky itself remains untouched, unstained, forever accommodating, and remarkably patient with the forecast. Can you feel that? The background of all your experiences, the always already here, the original OG, if you will. No effort is required to be this. Any effort is a movement away from it, another brushstroke by the painter who is now considering adding glitter. When you look for this awareness, you won't find it as an object, because it is the looking, a bit like trying to catch the light from the flashlight with the flashlight itself. Good luck with that. It's like the tip of a flame trying to burn itself. It's impossible and probably a fire hazard. The moment you stop seeking it as something separate, you realize you are it, which is either deeply profound or a bit anticlimactic, depending on your expectations for a grand finale. It's not a tiny point of light within you. It is the light that illuminates everything, even the dust bunnies under the sofa of your psyche. It has no center because it is everywhere. It has no boundary because it is all-inclusive, like a really good party, but quieter. The searcher is the sought. The mystery is its own unfolding. And yes, sometimes the mystery just wants to sit quietly and not be bothered. And as you rest here, in this simple noticing, something extraordinary begins to happen, not with a bang, but with a sigh, or perhaps a quiet chuckle of recognition. The threads of the old tapestry, the invisible script, they begin to loosen, not by force, but by neglect. Turns out even identities need attention to thrive. The painter's hand hesitates, wondering if perhaps a minimalist phase is in order. The tailor's needle pauses, considering if au naturel is the new chic. The sentinel of doubt finds nothing to guard and considers taking up gardening. The climax isn't an explosion of light or a sudden acquisition of cosmic knowledge that allows you to finally understand tax forms. It's quieter, more profound. It's the realization that what you've been seeking was never lost, just spectacularly well hidden, often in plain sight, like your car keys. It's the simple, earth-shattering recognition that the me, painstakingly constructed, defended, and occasionally updated on social media, is a phantom. A beautiful, intricate, utterly compelling phantom with surprisingly strong opinions on breakfast cereals. Like waking from an intense dream. In the dream, the peril was real, the search urgent, the hat made of cheese. Inexplicably a major plot point. Upon waking, you don't solve the dream's problems. You see, they were dream, and you really hoped no one saw you in that hat. This is the moment of extreme clarity, the one that can feel like a rug pulled from under your feet, yet you find you are standing on solid sky, which is, admittedly, a bit of a surprise for your ankles. The shock is not that something new appears, but that the old, familiar scaffolding of the separate self was never truly solid. It was a pattern of energy, a habit of perception, a very convincing, Oscar-worthy performance. And the you that recognizes this is not the painter, not the character in the story, not the one who still secretly thinks the cheese hat was a bold choice. It is the vast, silent awareness in which the entire drama and the hat was playing out. The boundary between the seer and the seen dissolves. The distance between you and life collapses, which makes for a much shorter commute. There is just this immediate, vibrant, ever-present aliveness, and it is not your aliveness. You are its. No refunds, no exchanges, but the warranty is infinite. This can be terrifying to the old identity, the curator of the small museum of meanness, the idea of no self, no separate controller, no fixed point of reference, no one to blame when the Wi-Fi drops. It feels like an annihilation, and in a way, it is. It's the annihilation of an illusion, a very persistent, occasionally charming illusion. But what is revealed in that emptiness is not a void. It's a fullness that beggars description, and certainly doesn't fit into a tweet. A peace that passeth all understanding, precisely because it's not of the understanding mind, which is still trying to understand the cheese hat. It's the density that is expansion. The less you there is, the capital Y, you, the one with all the opinions, the more life there is. The less you cling to the painted image, the more you embody the infinite studio, and the lighting in the studio is much better. So the Dreamweaver is seen, possibly offered a severance package. The echoes of stillness are heard. The phantom self dissolves into the vastness it always was, perhaps leaving a faint scent of existential angst and old library books. What then? How does this understanding, this recognition, change the dance of daily life, apart from making you strangely calm during traffic jams? Do we float away on a cloud of bliss detached from the world and start speaking exclusively in haikus? No. Tempting, perhaps, especially the haiku part, but no. If anything, you become more intimate with life, but the quality of engagement transforms. less frantic clutching, more graceful waltzing. Life continues. The symphony of experiences, joys, sorrows, challenges, beauty, people who chew loudly, it all continues. But the resistor is gone, the one who stood apart, judging, bracing, trying to control the flow, often with the effectiveness of a toddler trying to herd cats. Imagine moving through your day without that constant internal negotiation, that subtle or not so subtle friction between what is and what my meticulously detailed 5-year plan said it should be. Decisions are made, actions are taken, but they arise from a deeper wellspring, from a quiet clarity rather than from the anxious calculations of the separate self, which usually involved a pro-con list that was 90% cons. This is not about becoming emotionless. Emotions still arise. Fear, anger, joy, sadness, they are part of the human tapestry. And sometimes that tapestry has questionable color choices. But now they are met with a spacious openness. They are seen as weather patterns passing through the sky, rather than definitions of who you are or reasons to eat an entire pint of ice cream. Though to be fair, sometimes the ice cream is still a good idea. That old companion, doubt, or pragmatic realism as it prefers, may still whisper, but its voice has lost its authority. You see it as just another thought, a ripple on the surface, an unsolicited opinion from the internal broadcasting service. The need to be right, to defend a position, to maintain an image, it softens considerably, which saves a lot of time and mental energy. There's a profound sense of okayness, not a resigned okayness, but a vibrant, alive okayness with the unfolding mystery, even when the mystery involves why socks disappear in the laundry. The boundless isn't somewhere else. It's recognized in the very fabric of the ordinary, in the smile of a stranger, in the texture of a stone, in the rhythm of your own breath, in finding a parking spot on a busy day. You begin to trust an intelligence far deeper than the conceptual mind. Call it intuition, but it's not a special power that lets you predict lottery numbers. It's the natural flow of this unhindered awareness, guiding without words, like a river finding its way to the sea, even if it occasionally meanders past some peculiar tourist traps. It's that dynamic knowing, free of constraints and endless committee meetings. Suffering as it was known, the dramatic feature film version begins to unravel, because much of our suffering is born from defending that thought-based self, rooted in the belief in separation and lack, and an urgent need for more closet space. When you investigate feelings of inadequacy or fear, not by analyzing their story, which is usually a bestseller in the tragicomedy genre, but by feeling their raw sensation without resistance, you discover that their apparent substance is held together only by your strategies of avoidance or dramatization, and possibly some very strong mental glue. You surrender these strategies not as a defeat, but as an opening, like finally admitting you don't know how to assemble that flat-pack furniture and just letting it be. And in that opening, peace is found. Not a peace that is achieved after years of arduous effort and many expensive workshops, but a peace that is revealed as your inherent nature. A peace that, as one quote said, is better than telling yourself how good you feel, especially when you're actually feeling a bit rubbish. There is no final conclusion to this. no certificate of enlightenment to be framed, which is a bit of a shame as it would look lovely on the wall. This realization is not a static state, but an ever-deepening unfolding, a continuous returning, like your favorite comfort blanket, but infinitely more expansive. The old habits of thought, the echoes of the dream, the internal broadcasting service with its surprisingly catchy jingles for anxiety, they may still arise, but now they are met with gentle awareness, like familiar friends you no longer mistake for your entire world or give the keys to your car. The invitation is to keep exploring, to keep intuiting, to keep feeling, and maybe to develop a healthy sense of amusement about the whole human predicament. This isn't a hidden teaching reserved for a chosen few who have the secret handshake. It is the open secret of existence, whispered in every breath, shining in every perception. It's what you were before any story began. It's what you are now beneath the noise and the current top 40 hits of your mind. It's what remains when all stories end. It's so exquisitely simple that the mind, conditioned for complexity and fond of elaborate flowcharts, often overlooks it. It's so close we search past it, looking for something grander, more complicated, preferably with a user manual. But the greatest mystery is not out there in the cosmos. It is in the unwavering presence that is looking through your eyes, hearing through your ears, feeling through your skin right now, even if you're currently wearing mismatched socks. You don't need to acquire anything new. You don't need to become someone different, though perhaps someone who occasionally remembers to water the plants. The only requirement is a willingness, a gentle willingness, to stop believing the painter's every brushstroke, especially during their abstract existentialist phase, to stop clinging to the ghost tailor's ephemeral garments, even if they are vintage, to simply rest, to be. The key is already in the lock. The door was never truly closed, just perhaps a bit sticky from disuse. The invitation is simply to turn your gaze from the captivating drama on the stage, excellent production values by the way, to the silent, aware space in which the stage itself exists. What happens when you do? Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. That would just be another borrowed tune. Look, listen, be still, and discover for yourself the peace that is always already here. And maybe, just maybe, even the missing socks.